Life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you. John Maxwell. One of the most stressful things is ordering a meal at a new restaurant. Entertainment apps gives us thousands of titles to choose from on a Saturday night. Nowadays, everything doesn't come in threes, but rather in 30s and in 300s. We live in an age of absurd amount of options, and that makes choice all the harder. Choice is the purest form of our own volition, and as cheesy as it sounds, the power to choose gives us the freedom and power to be masters of our own destiny. But choice is difficult because it also represents sacrifice. Choosing something inherently means giving up something else, something which is available to us only for a limited amount of time. So here's my self-prepared guide to mastering your choices. Not only will you be able to make better decisions yourself, but hopefully also gain valuable insight on influencing the choice of others to help others do the same. Let's start with the basics. What is choice exactly? Well, choice is the ability to make a decision when presented with multiple possibilities. But the theory and mental models of choice go way further than that. Here is one of the most common theories in choice theory. It is the study of how decisions get made. The term was coined in a book of the same name by a certain William Glasser, who argued that all choices are made to satisfy five basic needs: survival, love, power, freedom, and fun. This theory is in accordance with our own assumption that we truly understand our preferences and how to weigh them against each other. But what happens when freedom conflicts with power? What happens when two choices offer us the equal amount of fun that we want? It's all about preference, and the Achilles heel of preference is bias. Have you ever called or texted someone only to receive no reply? Most people would assume that the recipient is busy, but those with low self esteem come to the conclusion that the person must dislike them. They already thought of this beforehand, and what has happened only confirms this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is bias. Some biases are conscious. For example, I prefer dogs over cats. They are more lovable, more friendly, and less likely to scratch me. But why do I prefer the color blue over the color yellow? I have an implicit bias. Now, implicit biases are everywhere, and it affects the way we treat people and each other, sometimes to alarming results. Bias doesn't just refer to a belief or judgment about a specific thing. In psychology, bias also refers to behavioral tendencies that affect how we reach conclusions and ultimately make choices. Now let's discuss about a polar opposite but equally harmful factor in decision making: priming. Priming is the effect that exposure to one stimulus has on our response to other stimuli. For example, if two groups of people are presented with the word green followed by either pear or sky, the group that read pear is more likely to process the word quickly compared to the other group. This is just because of the semantic association between the fruit and its color. Priming can also occur in other circumstances beyond language recognition. If priming is powerful enough to cause people's performance to suffer, it's no surprise that when a conscious choice is involved, people will prefer the option they have a positive implicit bias for. We are taught to prefer higher quality products, and we associate quality with indicators such as price and modernity. But the trouble with those associations is that we often overlook the quality of the products we are choosing between. It's the classic signal versus noise problem. Just how do we separate bias from choice? Why, now the million-dollar question: why is choice so hard? Let me give you an example. 6 months ago, I decided which subject I would pursue in my higher education. Just yesterday, I bought two kinds of chips I had never tried before from the grocery store. Now, choosing the wrong kind of snack is a less harmful and a more reversible choice. But choosing my subject felt way easier. And why is that? To answer it in two words, choice overload. Let me give you another example. A supermarket has an average of 42,000 stock keeping units. I'm not a psychologist, but it is safe to say that those many choices are overwhelming. Choice and willpower. When Barack Obama, former president of the States, was asked by a rather curious interviewer on why he only wore grey and blue suits every day, he answered, and I quote, "I'm trying to pare down decisions. I don't want to make decisions about what I'm eating or wearing, because I have too many decisions to make." Obama isn't the only one who follows this logic. Facebook co-founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg and late Apple co-founder and CEO Steve Jobs wore the same outfits to work as well. Now, this is not because these three men have poor fashion sense. They understood that making decisions causes mental fatigue. To put it shortly, the more decisions, simple or complex, that you are subjected to, the less willpower and mental energy you're left with at the end of the day. So next time you need to make a big decision, it may not be a good idea to go to a store and search for a new kind of snack. How do we make hard decisions easier? At this point, you get it. Choice is hard. There are some decisions that will just never be easy. But how do you do your part in ensuring to make the better choices? Cut. Less really is more. Faced with choice overload, people are less likely to choose. The trick is to find the balance between having enough options to attract people in the first place, but not too many that people are overwhelmed and walk away. Make things concrete. In order for people to understand the differences between choices, they have to understand the consequences associated with each choice. They need to feel the consequences in a vivid sort of way. Categorize. Think back to that example of the grocery store with its 42,000 products. Imagine if the 2% milk was kept next to the shampoo, but whole milk and heavy cream was stored next to meat. It would be total chaos. Categorizing your choices will not only simplify the process, but it will aid people to make the better choices with minimal effort. 4. Identify the risks you're taking. Familiarity breeds comfort, and there's a good chance you make some poor decisions simply because you have grown accustomed to your habits, and you don't think about the danger you're in or the harm you're causing. For example, you eat fast food every day for lunch. Since you don't suffer any immediate signs of ill health, you might not see it as a problem, but over time, as you might experience other health issues as a consequence or gain weight. Last but not the least, label your emotions. People are more inclined to say things like, "I had a lump in my throat," or "I have butterflies in my stomach," just like me before giving this speech. But that's just because many people just aren't comfortable talking about their feelings. But labeling your emotions might be the key to making better choices. Your feelings play a huge role in the decisions you make. Studies consistently show that anxiety makes people play it safe, and anxiety spills over from one area of someone's life to another. Excitement, on the other hand, can make you overestimate your chances of success. There's only a small likelihood of you succeeding. You might be willing to take a big risk just because you're excited about the potential payoffs. Make it a daily habit to label your feelings. Note whether you're feeling sad, angry, disappointed, or embarrassed. And then take a minute to consider how those emotions may be influencing your decisions. The reason we make decisions can't be isolated from who we are, where we are, or maybe even how long it took us to decide what outfit to wear that morning. But by being aware of psychological factors that affect our decisions, and recognizing how a decision that we make at 8 a.m. might affect another decision later in the day will not only help us make better decisions for ourselves, but also help others do the same. Thanks for tuning in.